Quick question for you. Why do your prospects ignore you even if your offer is good? Maybe I have the answer that it's basically because you're sending emails that looks like, hey, checking in, I'm just following up on this. I'm curious if you read my last email. And that's exactly why they ignore you. They don't want to be your clients. You are showing that you are desperate of having them in your portfolio. And that's exactly the opposite of what you have to do. In this video, I will show you and explain to you exactly the 7 psychological tricks that I go through that will change and flip the script here and will help you to get those clients on board in this specific way. So let me show you how shifting from just checking in to the 7 most tactical examples that will destroy the way you think and will change the way you start closing and booking more meetings. So basically, the first thing that I want to show you is this. As you can see here, these are the 7 most powerful psychological triggers for cold emails, even for the first emails, but also for the follow-ups. And even if you have to use them after a discovery call, demo call, or negotiation call, you can use these triggers because they are meant to be psychological, and that's why they will impact your prospect. In this case, I have 3 things that I will share with you. Why each of these works and what are the reasons behind you can use them with a clear example, a table with a specific detail of step-by-step how you can apply them, and a mental map of how this will be implemented in your own process. So let's dive into it. And the first thing that I want to share with you is this. Most follow-ups fail because they are asked for attention without triggering a decision. This is really interesting to understand and important for you if you want to move your deals forward. These 7 psychological tricks flips exactly the dynamic, so the prospect feel compelled to respond and not to ignore you. They feel that they need to give you an answer. Either if it is a yes, either if it is a no, they will answer to you. So let's jump into the first strategy and psychological trick. It's called the permission to close. And basically what you can see here is that the psychology behind it's tackling the loss aversion and control. Why is this so important? Because loss aversion, it's embedded in our nature and in psychology. If I ask you, hey, you have to go and run 3 miles right now and I will give you $100, most likely you won't do that because it's a lot of effort and you don't want to win. But if I'm telling you, hey, if you have to run right now 3 miles, if you don't do that, you have to give me $100. That's where the loss aversion risk comes into the psychology. We are more afraid of losing something than the excitement of winning something. And that's when this trigger, permission to close, comes into place. What are the signals? You're showing confidence, detachment, not chasing, and that you're powerful within this balance of negotiation. And the example could be something like, in your follow-up, should I close this file? Or is this still relevant? This one line, it will change the outcome on your side. People ignore when basically there's nothing that it's at stake on their side. But the moment you introduce this potential loss and loss aversion, they will react. Second trigger, no-oriented question. The psychology behind this is basically the reactance. We are not forcing, we are not pushing them to do something, but we are making them feel that they need us. So the example could look like, does it make sense to drop this for now? Again, it's a combination as well with loss aversion. The yes creates pressure, so we are looking for the no. No creates safety, and the safety is what they are looking for. So that's why this is giving you a reply. The third trigger that also helps to get people and prospects answering to you, the silent pressure one. The psychology behind this is really powerful. Cognitive dissonance. Basically here we are showing that we have a clear goal, that there is a clarity on what we're looking for, there is a sharp thinking and confidence on our side. An example, 3 words, still a priority. This short-term message, basically it's really hard to ignore. There's no escape. Either they solve by saying yes or they say no, this is not a priority. Either way, you win. The fourth trigger number 4 here, risk reversal. This is really interesting because it goes down again to why psychology works and why we can use wording in our emails that will help to get more replies. In this case, what we are showing is respect, low friction, we are not pushing, and we are not hiding any potential trick behind the curtains or behind the scenes. The only thing that you have to say here is, if this is not relevant right now, I will stop reaching out. Fair? So what you're doing here is removing the biggest objection before they say. They don't want to waste time. No one wants to invest time in something that they don't know if it's going to work on their side. That's why trigger number 4, risk reversal, just say, hey, let's do this together. If this is not relevant or this is not giving you the outcome that you want, I will stop. Is that okay? And that is how you position yourself. Let's move into trigger number 5, assumption flip. This is one of the most powerful and still the one that no one is using. The psychology behind it is a pattern interrupt and a correction instinct. As a human, it's important for you to understand that we always love to correct people. People love to correct people. If you say that I'm doing this in A or B, C way, I'm always telling you, hey, maybe it's not in that way, but this is how I do it. I always try to correct people. And that's why this email is really powerful. Because basically what you are showing here is that you understand the real buying behavior. For example, usually when I don't hear back, it means timing is off or priorities changed. Which one it is? You are giving 2 options. And as a humans, we are easy or we are happier picking within different options. So people are more likely to correct you than to respond to you. In this case, you're telling them, hey, this is happening, which one it is? And they are going to tell you, hey, you know what? Yeah, timing is off, or priorities changes, or this happened. Either way, if they correct you, that's a win because you get the clear sense of what's happening there. Trigger number 6, the micro commitment one. This is super powerful because you have the psychology behind it. In this case, what we want here is create a commitment bias. Basically, you're creating a structured thinking and an easy next steps on their side. For example, worth a quick 10-minute chat or not a priority right now. Why this is important? Because a big asks create friction. Small asks create movement. You are not telling them, hey, you know what? You need to jump into a 3-hour long Bible webinar with me. I want just 5 minutes or 10 minutes to understand if what we were talking about is completely interesting or not still to you. And lastly, trigger number 7, status shift. This is one of the most powerful, yet one of the most underused for all sellers. That is, we are changing the dynamics, and this happens in every aspect of our life. We are showing authority, selectiveness, self-respect, and we are showing them that we don't need them, and that's how they react. For example, not sure if we are a fit based on the silence. Should I move on? This is one example that you can use. And here, what happens is that the moment you stop chasing, they lean in and they will say, hey, you know what? No, it's interesting. It's powerful. We need to check it out internally, or I need to talk to my boss, or we need to jump into another call. The idea behind the status shift is that you don't put yourself into an inferiority level, and you work with them towards a potential solution together. And as you can see here in these 7 triggers, there is one powerful hidden trick that I didn't tell you before, but it's the power of searching for the no. Most of these triggers are looking for a no as an answer, either a correction or a no as an answer, because most likely when you are checking in, when you are sending just a reminder, when you are checking if they are already aware of your last email, or if you're bumping this up onto them, the answer that you want is, yes, I already read your email, I know what you're doing, I would like to have a call with you. But most likely what happened here is that they won't answer with a yes. If they don't answer to you, it's because something is happening internally. And if we want to trigger that information and cover that pain or understand what's happening internally, you need to use psychology behind your copywriting. And this is exactly how you do it. So, in a nutshell, you have this chart that is basically a sum up of what's happening within each and one of the triggers. So you have the trigger name here, and this is the document that you will have in the comment section, in the description of this video. I will give all the links. So if you didn't subscribe till now, go and click that button and the bell and also get the document. But basically what you will see here, it's a permission to close trigger, no oriented question, silent pressure follow-up, risk reversal email, assumption flip, micro commitment follow-up, and status shift. And in each of it, you will have the psychological trick, the signal that you're showing to them, what this reduces, pressure, defensive behavior, some noise, some ambiguity, and so on and so forth, and what it's forcing on their side, and then the example of how you can apply it and why this works. And lastly, and not less important, a full mental map of how to implement these 7 triggers and strategies. So as you can see here in this mental map, you will have one of each of the strategies, risk reversal, assumption flip, and all the ones that we shared, with a clear example of step-by-step how to apply it and what this will impact in your case. So remember, the idea behind all of this framework is for you to have a unique point of view when you are reaching out to your prospect, when you are following up on them, and stop using the same, just checking in, bumping this up, following up on my last email, because that won't take you anywhere. What we want here are real results, a lot of conversations moving forward, moving the needle within our pipeline, having a healthy pipeline, and start hitting our quota. On top of that, as a consequence, you will get a lot of commissions, and that's the idea. Remember, the bar is so low right now because every seller is doing exactly the same, and even in the era of AI and automations, everyone is clicking one button and sending 100 million emails saying exactly the same BS. This is your opportunity to lever and use these triggers in order to make sure that you're going to smash those emails, creating killer copies, and basically hitting your quota. So if you think that this is interesting, give me a like, subscribe to the channel, get the document in the description, and make sure that if you have any question or any strategy that you would like me to give my insights, leave it in the comment. Either way, I'm happy to help, and see you in the next one.